It's Armin Kamal from Infrared, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
70,000 tons of metal.
The original, the world's biggest heavy metal cruise. 60 bands, 4 days, one cruise ship, only 3,000 tickets.
From Miami, Florida to Ocho Rios, Jamaica.
January 30th to February 3rd, 2025. 5 days and 4 nights mingling side by side with your favorite artists in this incredible fan-friendly scenario that has no comparison.
Go to 70,000tons.com and book your ticket now.
Hey, good to see you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you just fine.
Awesome. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, Bruce.
As an old school thrash fan prepping for this morning, I was totally digging what you've done here with Manifestations.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's good to hear.
So we can just jump right in. It's been out for about 4 to 6 weeks, I guess, somewhere in there.
Yes, it's
right?
Since September 6th. Yeah.
So now that it's been out, what's been the response to it so far?
Well, I mean, largely pretty good. I would say, for the most part, very, very extremely positive reviews, and more importantly, good fan reactions. So comments on the socials and stuff like that are all positive. So we couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, then, when you finally sit down and go, holy cow, the response has been pretty good, that must make you feel pretty amazing that, what you envisioned when recording it is, come to life and actually made it into someone's life.
Yeah, I mean, every time we do an interview or whatever, I always say the same thing. We write the music for us, right? Like we're writing something that we want to hear. Right. So it's either missing in other people's music, although there's a lot of great bands and a lot of old time bands still putting out good music. But when it comes down to it, we just write what we want to hear, which is why we end up listening to it quite a bit because we actually like it. And a lot of musicians go, I can't listen to my own stuff. And it's like, no, we like it. We listen to it because we like it. And so we put it out. And then when it connects with people and people dig it, especially when you go play live, like we just had a show on Saturday, and then people show up too that aren't technically thrash fans or metal fans, and they just have a blast. Like they just love it. Like they feel the energy, and they're converted. Basically, they get it.
Yeah. So old school thrash, we mentioned it. What are your favorites from back in the day? Because I grew up listening to like the Death Angel, early Death Angel, Exodus.
Yeah, we listened to all the Bay Area stuff, Death Angel, obviously Slayer, Metallica, from the East Coast, Anthrax. They were pretty high up on our list. But more importantly, before that, even we were like super into Judas Priest, Scorpions, Black Sabbath.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, like we know the history, but it was the thrash music that like caught our attention. Like when we started playing our instruments, thrash was just starting, right? Like, and we're from Ottawa, Canada, and that's the birth town of Exciter, and they're more speed, but some would consider them to also be like at the forefront of the thrash movement. So,
oh yeah,
so we come by it honestly. It's our influences are on our sleeves, but it's also like we were there pretty early on as well. So it's part of I would say part of a movement more than trying to carry a torch or anything like that.
Okay. I know you mentioned that, a lot you grew up in that same area the same era as I did, and, had a lot of those influences. So I can see them on the record as well, because while we're talking about thrash and whatever, when you move out of Temple of Sin into Nico,
yeah,
Nico's not really a thrash metal song to me. That's very, I don't know, from that sort of genre metal, right? Like more new wave of British heavy metal. It's more slower and crunchier, I think. Am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's and we like to mix it up, like like I guess first and foremost, we're kind of considered a thrash band, but I was just say metal. Like if I have to pin it to a genre, I just say metal, and we'll do anything within that spectrum. But I would say that like Nico's actually heavily influenced, I think, although people wouldn't draw the connection that much to Scorpions, to very early Scorpions, you know?
With that kind of,
Yeah, like
I don't know what it is, the truncated, whatever.
yeah,
Yes.
like I love Uli, John Roth, from
Yeah.
Scorpions. Like anything that they did with him was amazing, and so there's a bit of that vibe, I guess, but obviously much heavier, and it's
Right.
a drop B tuning. And then you can hear a little bit of Klaus Meine in the in the choruses, right? So,
Right.
and I'm not shy about it. I mean, I love those
When you-
guys.
No, that's great. And I don't think you can escape your influences, right? I mean, you spend so much time being molded by them that it's only fair that what comes out is sort of going to have some sort of
Yeah, I mean, like I
tinge
said,
to it, right?
I think people would put on Nico, and I don't think they would say that sounds like a Scorpion song, like by any stretch. Like there's a lot of death
No.
kind of circles in there.
No.
Yeah, but it is influenced.
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
Yeah.
When you guys are you writing all together like the old school way in the same room, or are you banging things back and forth like email and Dropbox?
Well, I mean, we jam like at least once a week, and so we do a lot of our work there. But generally speaking, like again, because it's guitar oriented music, and so Kirk and I will generally write the riffs, and then come up with song ideas and that kind of thing, and then it goes to the band, and then we see what sticks, what people like, what they don't like, do the arrangements. None of the songs are what they are until every stamp of approval is on there and everybody's put their part in. Like, because I've demoed stuff, like a song that I've written or whatever. I've demoed it and put bass lines and scratch drum tracks in there and stuff like that. And it sounds pretty good, but it just gets elevated once the guys put their creativity into it.
Right. And I think doing that, get into the room once a week or whatever you said you do, is important because this kind of music, more so than anything else, I think really benefits from the playing off of each other and, hey, changing things on the fly and making it a more of an organic sort of thing rather than emailing it back and forth. Does that make sense?
Yeah. We've never
the
done
old school days.
Yeah, we've never done emailing. It's always, I mean, I might have received, video clips of
Right.
like somebody playing a riff, just to, hey, what do you think of this? And it's like, yeah, cool. But then we don't go any further until we're in the same room. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, because of convenience or the type of music they do or they're doing, they can get away with, here's a beat or but I don't think it flies when it's like real instrument driven, aggressive sort of stuff. It has to ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Play.
Yeah, the only time we ever did anything remotely close to that was during COVID. So it's, had some bass tracks done remotely and sent in, and then I would mix it and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we don't, we are definitely get in the room kind of people. So
is there a takeaway message or something you want your fans to walk away from after listening to Manifestation?
Well, it's a good question. Yeah, I just hope that they just feel energized after listening to it. It's there's a lot of themes on there. There's a lot of heavy themes. I wouldn't say there's anything lighthearted on the album, but if they can connect to some of the things, because we all experience a lot of the same things. Like Nico was about manipulation and people turning other people against people. There's inner turmoil, like inner struggles and stuff like that, like, hating yourself and trying to overcome that, or, so like Temple of Sin is one of those songs, like a lot of inner turmoil and, fighting yourself on, like, am I going to be violent because I sort of hate my life or hate myself? There's a bunch of things, like but we're not very serious guys. Like just to be clear, like all of our aggressions and everything is comes out in the music. We leave everything on the stage. We like to have a good time. So But
Sure.
this is just the genre that we gravitated towards, so we love it.
Very cathartic, though, right? For the listener as well as the artist.
Yeah, you save a ton on therapy bills, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
No need for a rage room. You crank some stuff up and you're good to go again 2.5 minutes later.
Pretty much, yeah. It's good. It's just like some people,
What do you guys have planned?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's just like, some people go and exercise like crazy, like, and I do that, like I exercise too and stuff like that, but you go for a jog and you feel energized, and like, when you come out of a jam or do a live show, it's like you're just elated. Like you release everything. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So what do you guys have planned live? You taking this out on the road more?
Well, we just played Montreal a few weeks back. We just played our hometown on Saturday in the birthplace of where Infrared actually formed. So that was pretty neat. So that was a sold out show, and we had an amazing time. Like the crowd was awesome. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. So yeah, it's and as far, so what we do now is like we kind of look at opportunities like opening up for some of the bigger acts. Like we've played with some of the greats, and those are the types of shows we love doing, because you get to meet people that you had grown up with, listening to, and then a little more exposure and stuff like that. And then if we do like smaller shows and stuff like that, we're kind of like moving towards just, we control everything, we run the show, and we make it an event. It's not just a Friday night, oh, there's a few local bands playing. There's going to be something to it.
What's an infrared show like these days? It's probably multi-generational, right?
It absolutely is. We have everybody from late teens all the way up until their 70s showing up to the shows. So it's pretty cool.
It's crazy how the metal genre has that sort of happen, right? The torch gets passed down from generation to generation. And then I go out to shows, with my kids, but I also see tons of other people out there.
Yeah.
Kids on their shoulders with a head, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. And, again, like it's a community. Like, some people look at metal community and they scoff and they think that they're crazy people or whatever. And I'm just like, no, these are the nicest, most well-adjusted people, because they know the appropriate ways to release anything that they got inside them that might be a little bit negative. They get it out and they just have a good time.
And it's a brotherhood in the end too, right? Because you meet people all over the world that are into it, and you have this immediate bond, and you're buying each other beers, talking about riffs in foreign cities somewhere.
Yeah. Like I remember when I was a teenager and I was wearing a Metallica shirt, and get stopped in the street, just like, hey, that Metallica, okay, let's talk.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything quite like that anywhere else, but it's great.
Yeah, for sure.
So that is all I had then. I know you said you're getting ready to do those shows or whatever, but what's next? More singles, more videos?
Well, I mean, we released 4 video singles already. So those are all out. And now it's just like whatever shows come up, we'll probably slow down a little bit now between November and December, and then kind of gear things up again. Probably plan something bigger for spring. But any shows that come up where there's like bands that we love, that are coming through town, or even Toronto, Montreal, whatever, Quebec City, we're definitely open to those. And they do come up. It's just, sometimes you're just sitting there thinking, we got nothing. And the next thing you know, we've got 4 shows lined up, right? Or a band,
right.
Like we have got friends down in Boston, Black Mass, and they'll come up through Canada and, hey, you want to jump on a few dates and stuff like that? And we're like, yep, we'll do that for sure. We did the same thing with Razor and Exciter, and so.
And so are you one of those bands that's always sort of writing, or do you like sit down to write for the project or the record or the EP?
Yeah, we're always creative. Like, I mean, we already have like a batch of songs just sitting there. I mean, they're not completed, they're just riff ideas at this point. So like, and you asked like moving forward and stuff like that, like, so Manifestation came out, but we're kind of toying with the idea again, like the industry's changed. Like, do we just start doing one-offs or a couple of songs at a time? And then when there's a critical mass of songs that seem to go together, we'll just package it up, when the time's right. But just to keep interest, because like, you do an album and then you don't do one for 2 years. And then, it's like, oh, well, it's so in this sea of music, it's so easy to get forgotten about, like even in weeks, right? Like people listen to stuff and then new stuff comes out and they're onto that. So it's not like, I mean, again, I guess we're from the same era, right? And you remember that you would listen to an album like 100 times, right?
Yep.
And you had your 10 favorite, and then you would listen to those, like, and it, and we still listen to them today, I'm sure, right? Or you put them on once in a while, right? So, I don't think things fly like that anymore, but who knows? I just know
everybody's got 30-second fans and one song downloads. Terrible.
Yeah. But it is what it is. It's again, we're not doing it to try to to be rock stars. We just like it, so we just do it because of that. So, and I think it shows up in the.
I think that's when it's the best, though. But that's when it's the best to me, when it's just real and organic, and you're just doing it because you like it, not because you're trying to put a Ferrari or in your driveway or something, right? You just do it, and that's when it becomes so organic and relatable.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our own, like, we have our personal lives, and we do okay. It's not, nobody's hand to mouth. It's nobody's starving. So, so when you do it, you're doing it just because you literally want to, not because you have to. Yeah.
Awesome. That was all I had. Did I miss anything you wanted to cover?
No. It's very cool. I appreciate you taking the time too. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I know everybody's busy these days, so it's like when people actually care to talk about our stuff, it's always an honor.
No, I appreciate it. Carry the torch forward, because I'm a old school thrash fan for sure. I mean, I think when I sit back and think of all these different genres or whatever, when it all comes down to it, I still think Slayer, Exodus, Death Angel are the core of my metal roots or DNA.
Well, you've picked some good ones, real good ones.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
Death Angel these days. Like, I mean, they're putting stuff out, and it's like, it's amazing. Like the the albums are amazing. So I'm just like, hats off to them, right?
Yeah,
so
the quality is not suffering. So
yeah, for sure. What part of the world are you? Like, where are you located?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay,
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, because I detected the U.S. accent, but
originally from New York 30 years ago.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was.
don't think you ever
That's
get
what
rid
I
of
was
that.
picking up, but I don't. I don't like to.
After a little bit of talking, it comes out good. So, thank you, my friend, for taking the time. I appreciate you.
All right.
Be well and have a good night.
Okay, take it
All right,
easy.
cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.